But first tonight, Australia on the world stage, beside America and Britain staring down the threat from China. Anthony Albanese took his place on the podium with President Joe Biden and Prime Minister Rishi Sunak in San Diego. A pinch-me moment for a kid from Housing Commission, and a major moment for Australia's national security.
Today, a new chapter in the relationship between our nation, the United States and the United Kingdom begins. A friendship built on our shared values, our commitment to democracy and our common vision for a peaceful and a prosperous future.
The cost up to $368 billion by 2055 to build a fleet of 8 nuclear-powered submarines. It's the most expensive defence project in our history, with 3 phases over the next 2 decades. The
AUKUS agreement we confirm here in San Diego represents the biggest single investment in Australia's defence capability in all of our history. From early in the next decade, Australia will take delivery of 3 US Virginia-class nuclear-powered submarines. This is the first time in 65 years and only the second time in history that the United States has shared its nuclear propulsion technology, and we thank you for it.
As the Prime Minister mentioned, in the early 2030s, Australia will buy 3 American Virginia-class submarines with an option to buy another 2. Later in the 2030s, Australia and Britain will start building a new class of submarine called SSN-AUKUS. It's British designed with American weapon systems, and 5 of these should be ready by 2055. Now today, Joe Biden was at pains to point out these submarines were nuclear-powered, but would not carry nuclear weapons.
AUKUS has one overriding objective: to enhance the stability of the Indo-Pacific amid rapidly shifting global dynamics.
British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said AUKUS was a powerful partnership promoting freedom. He also warned that China's aggression towards Taiwan could lead to a world potentially defined by danger.
The most significant multilateral defence partnership in generations.
More broadly about China, I think it's just clear that it represents a systemic challenge to us and the world order. It's a country with fundamentally different values to ours, and its behaviour over the past few years has been concerning. More authoritarian at home, more assertive overseas, and we are aligned with our allies, the US, Australia and others, in how we perceive China.
As he says, it's China's growing aggressiveness in our region that's the backdrop to this agreement. On the eve of today's announcement, Xi Jinping threatened to build his military into a Great Wall of Steel. His first speech in his 3rd term as president.
We should further advance our mobilisation drive in terms of national defence and military, and to turn China's military into a Great Wall of Steel that will effectively defend the country's sovereignty, security and development interests.
And in a show of solidarity, Biden revealed that US Virginia-class submarines will start to visit Australian ports almost immediately.
We'll also begin to increase our port visits to Australia. In fact, as we speak, the nuclear-powered sub USS Asheville is making a port call in Perth as we speak. And later this decade, we'll also be establishing a rotational presence of US and UK nuclear-powered subs in Australia to help develop the workforce Australia is going to need to build and maintain its fleet.
This submarine project, an unprecedented, staggering, unbudgeted cost. The estimated $368 billion almost certain to blow out. And our leaders have no answers about where the money to fund this will come from. But with an unpredictable and hostile China, this is an investment to safeguard our sovereignty that Australia has no option but to make. Not everyone, though, agrees. Unions in New South Wales are already saying they don't want submarines in their backyard. They've called this plan a job killer and a terrorist honeypot. And I'm going to discuss this with my panel, Paul Murray and Gemma Tognini, a bit later in the program. But here's South Coast Labor Council Secretary Arthur Rorris expressing his concern about this.
And out of nowhere comes this idea that they plonk a nuclear parking lot. Not a shipbuilding base, but a parking lot here, and sticking a massive nuclear target on our backs. Naturally, the people in Port Kembla are worried. They're worried not just about their current jobs, but they're worried about their kids, that they're only a kilometre or two away. Within a 10-mile radius, which is the International Atomic Energy Standard in terms of containment of these things, any accidents, any balls up, anything that sees radioactive material escape, or worse, is going to affect a major city. And that, as the chief of the port said, there is no room for defence here. There's no room for a submarine base, and we're not here for a target on our backs. Port Kembla deserves better than this.